The room was quiet, too quiet for a place that had just hosted one of the most exclusive industry gatherings in Los Angeles. The laughter had faded, the flashing cameras were gone, and the energy that once filled the air now felt heavy, almost suffocating. At the center of it all stood Billie Eilish. Still. Silent. Frozen. Her eyes, usually guarded behind layers of confidence and mystery, were now glassy, on the edge of breaking. Across the room, just a few steps away, stood Nat Wolff, and everything had just changed between them. The announcement that shattered the night. No one expected it. Not the guests. Not the industry insiders. And definitely not Billie. Nat had asked for everyone's attention. At first, it seemed casual, just another speech, maybe a thank you or a celebration of a new project. Billie had even smiled faintly, leaning against the wall, arms crossed, watching him the way she always did, quietly, intensely. But then his tone shifted. "I've been doing a lot of thinking lately," Nat began, his voice steady, but his eyes kept drifting toward Billie. That was the first sign something wasn't right. "I've realized that sometimes, the things we hold on to the most are the things we're the most afraid of losing." The room went still. Billie's heart started to race. Something deep inside her whispered, "This isn't just a speech." The words that broke her. Nat took a breath. And then he said it. "I'm leaving." A pause. "Not just for a project, not just for a few months. I'm stepping away, from everything here. The music, the spotlight, and the life I've built in this city." A murmur spread through the crowd. But Billie didn't hear any of it. Her ears rang. Her chest tightened. Because she knew what he really meant. The silent message between them. Nat's gaze locked onto Billie's. And in that moment, the room disappeared. No cameras. No people. No noise. Just them. Years of unspoken feelings, late-night conversations, laughter that meant more than it should, moments that blurred the line between friendship and something deeper. And now, he was walking away from it all. From her. Billie's breaking point. At first, she tried to hold it together. That's what Billie always did. She hid behind composure, behind that quiet strength the world had come to admire. But this was different. This wasn't just another goodbye. This was the one she never prepared for. Her lips parted slightly, as if she wanted to say something, but no words came out. Instead, her eyes filled. And then, the first tear fell. The crowd watches. But doesn't understand. People noticed. Of course they did. The whispers started instantly. Is she crying? Are they, together? What's going on between them? But no one really knew. Because what Billie and Nat shared had never been public. It lived in the in-between moments. In the glances. In the silence. And now, that silent world was collapsing. Nat's final words. Nat took a step forward, his voice softer now. "This isn't easy for me," he admitted. "There are people here, who mean more to me than I've ever been able to say." His voice almost cracked. But sometimes, loving something, or someone, means letting it go before it breaks you. Billie's tears fell faster now. Because she understood exactly what he meant. Too well. The moment that changed everything. Suddenly, Billie moved. Not fast. Not dramatic. Just one step forward. Then another. Her voice, barely above a whisper, finally broke through. "Why didn't you tell me?" The room went completely silent. Nat looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time that night. "I couldn't," he said quietly. "Because if I told you, I wouldn't be able to leave." That was it. That was the truth. Raw. Unfiltered. Unavoidable. Billie's emotional collapse. Billie shook her head, tears streaming freely now. "That's not fair," she said, her voice trembling. "You don't just disappear like this. You don't just decide for both of us." Her emotions poured out, everything she had buried for so long. "You think walking away makes it easier," she continued. "It doesn't. It just leaves everything unfinished, everything unsaid." The vulnerability in her voice hit harder than anything else that night. Because this wasn't the Billie the world knew. This was Billie, unguarded. The unspoken confession. Nat stepped closer. Close enough that only she could hear his next words. "You deserve more than someone who's still trying to figure himself out," he said softly. Billie let out a broken laugh through her tears. "And you think leaving is the answer?" she whispered. He didn't respond. Because deep down, he didn't know. The goodbye that wasn't really a goodbye. For a moment, it felt like time stopped. Like the world was holding its breath. Then, slowly, Nat reached out, hesitating before gently brushing a tear from Billie's cheek. A simple gesture. But it carried everything they had never said. "I'm sorry," he whispered. And just like that, he turned and walked away. Billie left behind. Billie stood there, frozen, as the distance between them grew. Each step he took felt heavier than the last. Until he was gone. Completely gone. And that's when it hit her. Not just the loss, but the realization that sometimes the deepest connections don't end with closure. They end with questions. With silence. With tears that say everything words never could. The aftermath. Long after the room emptied. Long after the whispers faded. Billie remained. Alone. Wiping her tears, trying to piece herself back together. But something had changed. Something irreversible. Because this wasn't just about Nat leaving. It was about everything they never allowed themselves to be. Final thought. And somewhere, far from that room. Far from the noise and the spotlight. Nat paused. Just for a second. As if he could still feel her there. As if a part of him never really left. Because some stories don't end when people walk away. They linger. In memories. In emotions. In the quiet spaces between what was. And what could have been. Billie Eilish in tears after Nat Wolff's shocking announcement. The room was quiet, too quiet for a place that had just moments ago been filled with laughter, soft music, and the kind of warmth that only comes from being around someone